Hey, this is Darren LaCroix live on the road. We just did a day of Train the Trainer Champ Camp with Ed Tate, but I still get Ask Darrens. They're still coming in. This one comes from Jay Emerry from Glenville, Illinois. Jay asks, I had an interesting conversation with a Protestant minister in training at a recent Toastmaster meeting. She said that when she was trained to move, stop, and then speak, but not speak while moving. This seemed kind of strange and rigid to me, but I was wondering if it was correct. I remember you moving about the stage while speaking at the library in June, but now I'm wondering if what she said is a general rule and moving about while speaking is an exception to the rule. I have no idea what the truth is. Well, I'm glad you asked, and it's a great question. But since I'm here live in a meeting room, why don't I show you what I mean? Here's the principle. The minister is not incorrect. This is what the minister is saying. That if I have one concept, one idea right here, and I finish the story here, the second thing that I want to teach you. So moving in silence is an actual good transition. However, I believe that there's another way as well that is even better. If we actually come up with a transition phrase while we transition on stage, thus signifying to our audience, I'm moving from one topic to another. For example, in my championship speech, I did and said this.
To fall on his face. You see, 100 years earlier, my childhood hero, Dr. Robert Goddard, had a ridiculous idea about building a...
So when you're writing your speech, if you look at the different points, and if you're using a Word document, you can actually put a box around paragraphs or sections. So let's say if this was my point 1, everything in this box is related to my point 1, and if this was point 2, everything in this box is related to that specific point. So what I'm suggesting is, if we actually create a transition phrase to actually allow us to say while we transition on stage. Most people never take the time to come up with a specific transition phrase. In this case, I used Dr. Goddard had a ridiculous idea. And then I paralleled that with, I remember when I had my ridiculous idea.
Dr. Goddard was the reason we landed on the moon. I remember when I had my ridiculous idea. I was listening to a tape of Brian Tracy.
So I'm saying that while I'm moving. But for example, it does take away your power if you're saying something while you're moving. So for example, if I said the most important thing about speaking is stage time, stage time, stage time, as opposed to if I said the most important thing about speaking is stage time, stage time, stage time, you can feel that the energy comes towards you. When I'm moving, it's diluted. However, going back to my principle, if you come up with a transitional phrase that is communicating to the audience, I'm moving from one point or one subject or one story to another, then I believe it's powerful. I hope that answers your question in great detail. If you've got a question, just go to www.askdarren.com. Stage time.